Hello everyone, welcome. This is Uncultured Purls, my podcast where I talk about knitting and crochet and all the projects I'm working on. My name is Lucy. I am coming at you from Richmond, Virginia, where it is a nasty, rainy day in January. It's January 22nd of 2023. Whenever the weather's not good like this, I love to stay inside and work on my projects. So hopefully you do too, and hopefully you can grab your knitting and join me for a few minutes to talk about what we've got going on. I don't have a ton of progress since last time, but I will share what I do have. And if you like this kind of content where people talk about what they're working on, please do smash that subscribe button, as they say, and then you'll get recommended whenever I post new videos. First, I will talk about what I'm wearing. I don't think I've shown this on the podcast before. Obviously, this is the Ranunculus, very popular YouTube pattern. It's the Ranunculus sweater by Midori Hirose. And I finished this one, I think around April or May of 2022. I did it in Karen Cakes, Karen Cotton Cakes. It's a cotton acrylic blend. And I'll scoot up so you can kind of see the yoke. I followed the pattern exactly. I did the shortest sleeve option. And I think when I did the pattern, it only had the one size still. I think she has edited it so that there are multiple sizes you can make. But I think I used a smaller needle than she called for so that it would have a little bit less positive ease than the pattern recommends. So I'll kind of stand and see if you can see. There you go. I had to kind of move my camera, but this is what mine looks like. I'm kind of tall and lanky, so I figured I wouldn't need as much positive ease as it calls for. And it turned out looking pretty good, fit-wise, I think. I know I've talked before about regretting using acrylic on certain projects, but I don't regret this one. I think this turned out pretty well, and because it's got so much cotton in it, it doesn't feel acrylic-y. It actually feels really nice and cool because summers here in Virginia get very hot, and this I've been able to wear in the warm temperatures. All right, with that out of the way, I will talk about whips because I have 0 finished objects. I've been knitting a lot, but I have not finished anything. But I will update you on my whips. I am working on a pair of socks. I don't have them here to show you. They're just plain vanilla socks. And those have been my project that I have been working on at work. So I brought those with me to the office, and at lunchtime, I'll knit a few rows on them. But I ended up just leaving them in my office, and today is Sunday, so I forgot to bring them home with me on Friday. But I will show you those once I actually finish at least one of the socks. I'm still on the first sock for those. Then I will show you my old faithful half and half triangles wrap, which I'm still knitting away on. Here is my progress keeper. So that's where I was last time. I've done everything above where that blue marker is, which is good progress. It's a lot of stitches, but there's just so many stitches on this thing that I'm probably nowhere near finished. because these are all the stitches I have left, the short rows that I have left to resolve, and that's a goodly chunk. So we've got a while yet on this bad boy, but slowly but surely we'll get there. The thing that I mostly want to talk about is a new project that I cast on, and I am very excited about this. It is the Luma sweater by Sari Nordlund. I mentioned it last time that I was planning to make this one. Well, the yarn I ordered arrived and I have started it. So first I'll show you the yarn. I am making it out of, this is my main color, this is my contrast color, and this is Plenty by Purl Soho. It's 100% extra fine merino wool. Plenty. And this color is Red Pine. It's a really nice kind of rusty red. And then this one is Heirloom White. And it's made in Peru, hand wash cold, lay flat to dry. It is a beautiful yarn. I'm really happy with the decision. It's so soft. We'll have to see how it holds up because it does feel kind of delicate because it's so soft. I'm worried that it's gonna felt really badly, especially once I wash it, but that's okay. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, right? This yarn is kind of expensive, but I really wanted to have a sweater that I loved and I could wear for years and years. And so I didn't want to skimp on the money and then be disappointed with the finished product. And Purl Soho frequently has sales, so I bought this on sale, I think right after New Year's. So I think it was 20% off. And so if you're interested in using their yarn, just keep an eye out for a sale because there will be one. It seems like every month and a half or so there's another sale. But okay, since I kind of spent a decent amount of money on this yarn, I really wanted to be careful with my gauge and make sure that the size I made was the size that it was supposed to be. So I made several gauge swatches. I extensively swatched for this. And so my first one here is this one. Oh, it looks so nice, doesn't it? But I ended up not using this needle. This was with the recommended needle, which I think is a US 8? No, 7. US 7 for the regular stockinette, and then 8 for the color work. And so this one is with a US 7. I measured this. I think it's supposed to be 18 stitches per 4 inches and then 22 rows, I'm pretty sure. My gauge was not right with this. And I did it, you know, carrying the yarn across the back to pretend like I was knitting in the round. I tried to do everything right, you guys. I was not cutting any corners for this. So I did that, but my gauge was too large. I always get confused when I try to explain this, but I was getting I think I got 16 stitches per inch on this. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I tried sizing down. So I tried using a US 6 and I made another swatch. So there's that one. I mean, they pretty much look the same. But I measured this one and it was actually correct. In terms of stitch gauge, the row gauge I think was still off a little, but I decided it would be fine. I might just have to knit fewer or more rows. So this is the needle I ended up using for stockinette, a US 6. I haven't gotten there yet in the pattern. And I also swatched for the color work. So here's the first one I did. This was with a US 7. And I just did part of the color work chart for it and then a little alternating section. I measured this and it's slightly off. I think it's like 20 stitches per inch instead of 18. I don't know. This all made sense to me when I originally did it, like almost 2 weeks ago. Now I'm not remembering that well. But I did another one with the US 8, slightly different pattern, but same thing. And it was too much bigger. Like this was only 16 inches, 16 stitches per inch. And I decided I actually liked how the other one looked a little bit better. And so since neither of them were quite what I needed, I kind of just picked the one that looked better. And because I'm sort of between sizes in the pattern anyway, I was sort of between the second and third size. So the second size would have had pretty much 0 positive ease, and the pattern is supposed to have between 2 and 3 inches of positive ease compared to your body measurements. And the third size has a little bit over 3 inches of positive ease. And I decided that if my gauge was a little bit smaller than it should be, that it would probably still fit me if I made the third size. So long story short, that's what I'm doing. I'm making the third size and I'm using US 7s for the color work and US 6s for the stockinette. And then for the collar, you size down 1 needle from the color work. No, from the stockinette size. So I'm using a US 5 for that. So I will show you my progress. All right, here it is. I made decent progress, not a ton. Clearly I'm still on the yoke. But it's got this high collar that at the end you actually fold in on itself and you sew it down. So it's not going to be as turtlenecky. But oh, I'm so excited. See, my cable is a little bit short, so it's hard to like stretch these out. And they're kind of puckered at the moment. My tension is not the best yet on color work. I'm hoping when I block this, the puckering will go away mostly. But, you know, fingers crossed. I'll show you my floats. I mean, they look normal, don't they? I don't know. I don't do that much color work, but I'm excited so far. I'm gonna keep working, keep plugging away. And hopefully once I block it, this will look really good. There is one issue with this pattern that I will warn you about if any of you are thinking about knitting this. There's an error in the pattern, and it's a paid-for pattern. I bought it on Ravelry. I think it's like $7 or $8. I'm a little miffed that there was a mistake in it because I didn't realize the mistake in the pattern right away, and I had to rip back 3 or 4 rows once I realized. So it happened when I was about right here in the yoke and you start doing the increases, and you use a invisible lifted increase, I think is what it's called. There's a link in the pattern to a YouTube video explaining how to do it. Be careful to use her link because I typed into YouTube how to do the invisible lifted increase, and I got a tutorial that was not the same as the one that she recommended. So there are a couple ways of doing it, I guess. And I really wanted to do the one that she recommended. It ended up becoming kind of a moot point because I had to rip back anyway, so I did it again with what she recommended. But I digress. The problem with the pattern was that it said to do these increases in the contrast color, which for me is the white. Now, I did that the first couple of rows with the increases, and I compared my work to the picture of the work in the pattern, and it was not the same. I was very confused. Things were not making sense. I'm reading the chart again and again, and it says increase with contrast color. And I'm like, are you sure? Anyway, I go on Ravelry and I'm reading some of the other people's projects who have done the pattern, and finally I saw one of them that said, you know, there's an error in this pattern. All the increases are supposed to be with the main color, which for me is the red, the rusty color. And so this is not a new pattern. It's been out for almost 2 years. I think it came out in 2021. So I'm like, has no one informed poor Sari Nordlund that there's a mistake in her pattern and she hasn't corrected it? Or like, you know, I always read through the full description of the pattern before I buy it on Ravelry, and if she just said in that even, like, attention, there's a mistake, do all the yoke increases in the main color. I don't know. And I'm not like trying to diss her. I think other than that, the pattern is great, and she has a lot of really cool looking patterns that she has come out with, but it's just kind of annoying when you follow the instructions exactly and you end up with the mistake that you have to rip out. The problem has now been solved. Now I know, and I'm just gonna continue doing what I've been doing. And hopefully next time I will have finished the yoke and I'll be able to show you that whole thing. Next up is other hobbies and books. So I know I've been talking about diamond painting, and I have finally bit the bullet and ordered myself 2 diamond paintings because, of course, I could not resist a buy one get one half off, and that's what they were having at Diamond Art Club, which is where I ordered mine from. I'm not sponsored. I have no idea if they're good quality or not. I've never done one. Just sharing with you what I'm doing. So I ordered 2 of them. I will show them in the next video because they should arrive on Wednesday. So hopefully I can update you next time about them. And then my reading updates. I think last time I was still reading Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I finished that. Of course it was good. You know, it's Harry Potter. It's always good. But then I was feeling tired of reading something that I know what's going to happen. I wanted to instead read something totally new. So I went back to good old Stephen King. I don't think I've mentioned this before. I am on a quest to read every Stephen King novel. Obviously, that's a very long-term goal because he's written like 65 novels or something. And I'm doing pretty good. I've probably read about half, but this was one I have not read yet. This is Dolores Claiborne. We got the movie picture on the book, which usually I don't like, but this was very cheap at a thrift store, so I couldn't resist picking it up. I finished this one since last time. It was good. I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads. I liked a lot about it. I like that it centers on a woman. Frequently, Stephen King's female characters are not the best, and that's my main criticism of him. But Dolores, she kind of, she's kind of a bad bitch. So I did enjoy it. I thought certain parts of it were kind of too slow. This is another frequent complaint of mine with Stephen, is that I wish he would just get on with it sometimes. And I did feel that way through some of this, but overall I'm glad I read it, and I can cross off another off my Stephen King list. And then this morning I started reading a new book. I have gotten only 1 chapter in, but I have begun reading Cape Fear by John D. MacDonald. I have never read a John D. MacDonald. The only reason I know of him is because he wrote a foreword to my copy of Night Shift, which is a collection of Stephen King short stories. And I thought this little prologue forward thing was so well written that I wanted to read more of his stuff. I think he wrote back in the 60s, primarily, 60s and 70s maybe. And so I really enjoyed chapter 1 of this. It's pretty short. It's only like 200 pages. So I should have this finished by next time too. Then after that, I think I'm gonna go back to Harry Potter, but we'll see what mood I'm in. I like to just kind of look at my shelf whenever I finish one book and see what calls to me and select that. There you have it, my friends. Those are the things I'm working on, the things I'm reading, the things I'm hoping to work on in the future. As always, it has been a delight chatting with you. Hit that subscribe if you had a fun time too. I hope your 2023 is off to a great start, and I will see you next time. Bye.